Hello again, freshmen. Mrs. FB again, and this time I hope that you have watched the OSLIS video about what is a database and that you are sort of familiar with what databases are and how they work, and I'm going to show you the databases that we have available for you for this project. So I'm going to click on the databases tab here. This is a reminder. It did talk in the video about using the usernames and passwords. If you have forgotten the usernames and passwords, you can email lost passwords from your Gmail account and you'll get a reply right back. Mr. Lum and I aren't always reading our email while you are doing your homework, so we encourage you to use that email instead of asking us, or log into the JHS portal right here to get the database usernames and passwords. The EBSCOhost database, if you're looking for any of the databases for EBSCOhost, that username and password has changed, and we are going to ask Mr. Hernandez to send that to you on Canvas. But it is, I will tell you this here, and you can write it down, the username for EBSCOhost has now changed to Jesuit Clark Lib, L-I-B. And the password is Crusaders 2020 exclamation point, and there are no capital letters in that. So if you're looking for the EBSCOhost one, that one has changed from what is in your planner. Okay, it's correct on the portal, but in your planner it's wrong, so you may want to make a quick change to that. Again, Jesuit Clark Lib is the username, and Crusaders 2020 exclamation point is the password. Okay, moving on to what we have here. First of all, we have the Britannica Encyclopedia Online, and this is a good encyclopedia for basic information. Okay, it is not a source that you're going to use in your actual works cited. You're not going to take any quotes from this, but you may get some little bit of background information just to your own knowledge. Okay. Also, what the Britannica has that we find very helpful is this right here, Web's Best Sites. So really you can go on here, you can read this, but as you can see, it's not much information. But they have some links to some really good sites over here. They're outside of Britannica, but they've been chosen by the people at Britannica, so you can trust them as being reliable sources. And you can go to those sites and get a lot more information, and then you can use these sites in your research. Okay, so that's the main reason we want you to go to Britannica, is to look at their site links. Okay, Explora is an EBSCOhost database. So when you get here, you're going to click on the circle, and this database, if we type in Berlin Wall, for example, again, then we have all of these sources. And if we look over here, we see that we have magazines, newspapers, book reviews, biographies. Ooh, we have primary source documents. Okay, so we want to look at primary source documents because you need a primary source document for this project, right? Okay, so these are some sources that you might use. Okay, so for example, if let's just say we want to use this primary source, okay, we're going to look at this, we're going to read it, we're going to get some information out of it. We're like, okay, yes, this is a great source. I have not really looked carefully at this, so I'm not saying it is. I'm just using it as an example. But if we do like it, then we can go over here to this Cite button. And if you're on your iPad, you will not see the word Cite. You will just see this little icon. If you hover over it, it'll say Cite. So we click Cite. Be very careful on the Explora databases because, as you can see, we start here with the Brazilian national standards, and you are not in Brazil. We have the American Medical Association standards, and although you may aspire to medical school one day, you are not there yet. We need MLA, so we're going to scroll down, and here we go. Here's MLA. Okay, I'm going to copy that, Control-C or right-click. Okay, I'm going to go back to my practice works cited that you saw from the first video. I have my other sources here. Okay, I'm going to paste this third source. It will have the hanging indent because I have my document set up like that, but I noticed that it also has some highlighting. I want to get rid of that. I need to look and see, do I see http:// here? I do not, so that's great. I also don't see accessed March 2, okay? So I'm going to copy and paste that in case Mr. Hernandez wants it, okay? And then that entry is done, except for it starts with Ausland, and I don't think A belongs after K. So I'm going to move that, Control X, and I'm going to put it up the very top, okay? And then I'm going to ask you to think for just a second about why the Berlin Wall came tumbling down that starts with a T is in front of Kennedy John F, because that one is correct. Think about that just for a second. Did anybody come up with the fact that we ignore the word the before in a title? We ignore the word the, we ignore the word a, and we ignore the word an. Those don't make any difference. So we can just pretend that those, oh, where's my int format, my text? Oh, there it is. We can just pretend that those don't exist. Okay, so when we look at this entry right here, even though it says the Berlin Wall, we just pretend that the isn't there. Okay, I see one other error, and that is that I don't have this in Times New Roman 12. So I'm going to fix that. And there you go. Okay, I'm also going to delete these because I might need to tell you something else later. Okay, so that's how we find the, that's how we find the citation on the EBSCOhost databases. Okay, we can also save an EBSCOhost entry straight to our Google Drive, and we can save Gale in context databases. So let's look at global issues in context in the same way to our Google Drive. Okay, in this database, it's called Gale in Context. Okay, we have all of these types of entries. Again, we have some primary sources, so that's great. Okay, we need some of those. We have some viewpoints here, and viewpoints, remember, mean that it's someone's opinion. And when we have opinion, we have, fill in the blank in your head. Hopefully you got bias for your fill in the blank. So we need to remember that they have bias in them, but that doesn't mean we can't use them. It just means we need to be aware. So let's look, for example, at the reference articles, and let's just look at this one. Okay, again, the citation button, just like we saw before, is right here. Again, we'd have to remove this https:// part. Okay, but what I didn't show you before with the ebooks and what I'm going to show you now, all of the Gale databases, all of anything that says Gale, has the save to Google Drive. Okay, when the Gale items save to your Google Drive, where's my drive? I am going to look here in my drive. I'm going to see that there's a folder, so there's a bunch of folders from Gale, right? And we just looked at Gale in Context Global Issues, and we saved an article called Berlin Wall. So if I look in the Gale in Context Global Issues folder, there I have an article called Berlin Wall. And there's the whole thing, including the citation right here. So that's great. And EBSCO also saves to your Google Drive, although not in quite the same way. Okay, so look in all of these databases to find articles. You can also search in Culturegrams, which is a great database. For example, we're going to search Europe, and we want to go to Germany because we're looking at the Berlin Wall. So if we go to History in the Germany section, we'll probably find some information about the Berlin Wall. There's lots of information about current stuff, so we want to be sure that we are paying attention to that. We can get our citations by clicking which kind of citation we want and then generate, and there it is. Notice that they also took away the http:// and they have the accessed part. Okay, so those are some of the databases you can take a look at, and they are very helpful. So I would encourage you to look at the databases right away, especially Explora and one of the Gale, sorry, not Google. We are not using Google for this. We are using our databases and our references that you can find in the library. Okay, great. Thank you so much.